Addis woke before the city did. A chill slid down from Entoto, slow as smoke, and the blue light made every corrugated roof look rimed with frost. I watched dawn through a taxi window while the driver, Elias, hummed an old love song and wove past donkeys and mopeds. It had been 10 years since I left, 8 since I stopped calling this place home. My phone buzzed once, just once, with a message from Dawit. Arrive quietly. Bring your camera. Trust no one. He'd taught me to frame a photo when we were students, to see the story inside the noise. Now he was a fixer with a talent for saying the right lie at the right time. His last 2 texts in June were coordinates near Debra Libanos and a picture of a wooden chest with a dove carved on its lid. Then nothing. People disappeared here without fireworks. One day the cafe stool was empty and the coffee cooled anyway. Elias dropped me near Mescal Square. The city was stretching, children in navy uniforms, guards with bad coffee, the muffled bass of a wedding behind a gate. I kept my camera bag light, 2 lenses, a recorder, a knife that looks like a comb. The cafe on the corner had brass trays and a woman roasting buna, coaxing smoke with a straw fan. I asked for a macchiato and the Wi-Fi password. No new messages. A man in a cheap blazer approached, wearing a radio earpiece like a swallowed secret. "Layla?" he asked, as if testing how the name would behave. "I'm Sammy. Dawit sent me." We walked through Mercato's alleys, where steel doors rattled up like eyelids and incense thinned out diesel. He talked without touching the real subject, a talent all its own. When the crowd grew louder, he stopped beside a stall stacked with plastic sandals and leaned so close his breath turned my ear warm. "They took manuscripts," he said, "not just Lollibella copies. Something with official seals. Dawit found the route." "Which route?" I asked. "To Djibouti. Trucks marked for fruit and coffee. Pallets to a private warehouse in Arkoki. Men with foreign accents." He said once the convoy moves, we have 2 hours to follow or forget. Sammy slipped a flash drive into my pocket like a coin returned wrong. He told me, if he went quiet, I should give you this near crowds. His eyes flicked past me. Crowds make witnesses. 2 men were studying shoe sizes with too much concentration. Their jackets were too clean. I used the sandals as a mirror, angled right. Both had empty hands, but their shoulders were attentive, like dogs scenting a change in weather. I smiled at the vendor, bought a ridiculous green pair, and said to Sammy, "Let's leave." We cut into a lane where sunlight got stuck on tin. A siren started somewhere, and every stallholder stiffened microseconds before their faces relaxed into stone. "Do not run," Sammy said. "Running writes your guilt on your back." We walked. We didn't run. The siren grew nearer. I tasted metal, remembered how fear presents as flavor, a bad blood candy. We turned another corner, and a schoolboy stepped in front of me and tied my shoelace. "You dropped this," he whispered, and slid a note into my hand. I kept walking until we reached a stairs, well, that smelled like cigarettes and stew. Inside, I read the note. Not Dawit's handwriting, but close. Kabil 05 substation. Tonight. Do not bring anyone you can't afford to lose. Outside, Addis exhaled, and the day finally began again. By afternoon we were northbound, climbing toward the highlands where the air thins and conversations become brief out of respect for breath. Sammy borrowed a dented Hilux with a cracked windshield. Elias refused payment and pressed a string of blue beads into my palm. "For the road," he said. "For the eye that watches." He meant the sun. He meant whatever else men fear. The highway shouldered past eucalyptus and patched fields the color of old coins. We stopped for injera and shiro, and the woman asked if we were married without looking at our faces. People judge safety by the shapes they can place you in. Sammy said, yes, and I didn't correct him. At Lollabella, dusk folded the world into indigo. We paid our fees and took off our shoes and stepped down into the trench between rock walls that smelled of wet pepper. A priest passed, robes whispering, eyes set deep like wells. The church's roof sat where the ground should be, chiseled from the mountain, a geometry of faith and stubbornness. I photographed cracks and corners, the weary glory. We didn't talk. A young nun with careful hands offered water and told a story like a warning. Men came with crates, she said. They wore vests with little lamps. They told the caretaker the patriarch had asked for restoration. They had stamps. They took ledgers. They were polite. She glanced at our boots and then at Sammy's watch. Politeness, she added, is sometimes a bridge over a river that isn't there. We left a donation, then circled to a gate where tourists do not go. A boy outside sold candles by pieces. You're late, he said. You missed them by hours. Sammy showed him the sandals I'd bought in Mercato. Look at this fashion, he said, and the boy laughed and told us the men had driven east with 2 trucks and a white Land Cruiser following like a teacher. They bought diesel from a cousin who cheats the pump, the boy added. They said lake, then salt. East meant the lowlands, the rift, the afar triangles where maps grow empty and the roads are suggestions. We drove until the night peeled into stars sharp enough to notch memory. Somewhere beyond the turnoff, 2 pairs of headlights floated in the mirrors. Friends? I asked. Maybe, Sammy said. Maybe we are popular. At a checkpoint, a soldier with meticulous boots inspected our papers and held them like something that might bite. He advised against continuing. There was rain, he said. Flash floods, stones falling like messages, and hyenas near the school. His tone made the hyenas the final argument. We continued anyway, whispering tire over gravel. When the road slumped into riverbed, we killed the lights and let our eyes adjust. The stars stitched a thin path. Somewhere nearby a generator coughed awake. We rolled forward until corrugated fencing appeared, painted a blue that only looks clean at night. Through a gap we saw silhouettes moving boxes from truck to truck with the careful urgency of people who rehearse for panic. I clicked on my recorder. The nearest guard turned his head like a bird. Sammy's hand found mine and squeezed once. Not yet. Then something metallic scraped behind us, and a white face flashed in the mirror, the blown-out ghost of our tail lights. Another truck had coasted up with its engine off, its grille smiling without humor. From the fence came a shout, then the thud of a dropped crate and footsteps hurried closer. Layla, Sammy said softly, choose now between seeing and surviving. We didn't choose. The scene chose for us. A gate squealed. The fence shook as men spilled through with flashlights and discipline. Sammy reversed, and the Hilux fish-tailed in the riverbed. A beam burned across the windshield. Someone yelled in Amharic to stop. Another voice, different music, shouted in English to hold fire. Metal cracked like teeth. The truck behind surged forward to pin us. I grabbed the camera, habit is stubborn, and pointed it at the shouting. Light found me. Sammy cut right, found a slope of scrub, and the Hilux climbed it grunting, stones clattering. We crested, dropped, found another track flattened by bigger tires, and ran east with the darkness ironing to a sheet. We killed the headlights. The desert, which looks empty to strangers, was alive. Camels like folded tents, thorn trees combing the sky, radio towers blinking. Heat rose from rocks and breathed me in. Behind us, engines argued. We can't outrun them, I said. We can be less interesting, Sammy said, and cut the engine. We slid to a stop beside a lava hummock. Dust caught up and wrapped us. We listened. The trucks passed, offended at our vanishing. Far off, the generator coughed, then steadied. They'll sweep the track, he said. People with budgets like grids. A woman's voice came from the dark, steady. And people who hide like goats. She stepped from behind the hummock, lantern hooded, a rifle slung low. A badge read Park Scout. Kaltu, she said. Off Ferrari. My cousins drive salt. Your lights insulted this land, so I followed. I told her Dowit's name. Her gaze shifted, quick calibration. He was here, she said. He traded a memory card for water and asked for the tower code at Kabyle 05. He went south with a man in a white cap. They argued about deadlines. What are they moving? I asked. Boxes that sweat, she said, and boxes that do not. Men who lift the sweating ones swear more. We edged to a rise and watched the yard. Through a slit, a refrigerated container, humming. Beside it, plywood crates stenciled with a fruit exporter's logo. Men ferried between them like ants. Two wore uniforms without insignia, the competent posture of private soldiers. A low building hunched at the edge, windows blacked. The whole place looked temporary, like a lie. Kaltu drew maps in dust. There, she said. Drainage ditch. Crawl to the container's back and read the serials. If I make noise west, they'll pour that way. But the Land Cruiser men are hunters. They won't chase noise. They'll hunt breath. I'll crawl, I said. Sammy looked at me like he hated me briefly, which is one measure of loyalty. 3 minutes, he said. If you're not back, we are ghosts. The ditch held old water and newer trash. I breathed shallow. At the container's corner, I wiped mud from a plate. Manufacturer, cereal, last service in Djibouti, 5 weeks ago. I photographed labels, bolts, locks. The hum traveled through my elbows. Then the door unlatched from inside with a sigh. A man stepped out, lit a cigarette. Cold fog rolled from the opening and carried a smell I knew from morgues, antiseptic over meat. Through the crack I glimpsed steel racks, vials, a gloved hand moving like a metronome over labels printed in French and Arabic, and frost feathering plastic wrap around sealed trays. He flicked ash and spoke into a radio. Batch 2 Thor checks complete. Cultures stable. Vehicle 2 departs at 0200. He was young, careful, utterly at ease. My recorder, under my shirt, drank every word. We slid from the ditch as the ember fell. Kaltu threw a stone west. Men swarmed that way. We crawled east and breathed only inside the car's shadow. What's a Thor check? Sammy asked. Not antiques, I said. Biology. Dalal microbes, Kaltu said. Some come with permits. Some come with guns. At the Kabyle 05 substation, an inverter hummed. The old desktop woke after 2 tries. I slotted Sammy's drive. Files cascaded. Serials, manifests, schedules, photos tagged a cocky, DJI, invoices from a shell, a security memo avoiding kinetic areas, and one voice file labeled Dawit. He sounded tired and near. If you're hearing this, I missed the gate. Layla, they watch the towers. The manuscripts are bait. The crates carry cultures for a European lab that wants exclusivity. The reefer cycles every 2 hours. Trucks take a spur at Chernobyl before dawn. Get the cereals out. Can we push this? I asked. Climb, Kaltu said. We climbed the tower. I sent photos and audio to 3 editors and a lawyer in London. The bar inched. Engines approached. 2, Calter said. Land cruiser and a truck. Upload complete. At ground level, dust built a wall. A white-capped man stepped from the Land Cruiser with a loudhailer. "Journalist," he said in gentle Amharic. "This prevents catastrophe. Talk." Rifles lifted. Calter's rifle cracked. A spotlight died. No one lowered anything. A third horn cut the dark. A sedan slammed the Land Cruiser's door. Dowit lurched out, bandage at temple. Sammy dragged him behind the substation. "I lied so you'd keep moving," he told me. "I'm not sorry." The white-capped man, calm again. "You already sent it. We can't let you leave." We ran to the rails. Freight groaned ahead. Scheinel's spur cut the plane. The train shouldered past. Dowit grabbed a ladder. Sammy boosted me. Calter covered, then leaped. The Land Cruiser chased along the service road, men firing. Sparks skittered from steel. Wind tore breath into pieces. We flattened on the container car's deck. Bullets found only iron. The truck fell behind. The Land Cruiser tried once more, then drifted off. Dawn bled into a siding where salt shone like bone. We checked the phone. Sent. Dowit exhaled. Then it exists. If they bury it, it still existed. We separated. Calter angled toward caravans. Sammy fixed his watch. Dowit waved and vanished into a crowd. In Addis that evening, my messages split. 2 confirmations, 1 threat. The flash drive was gone from my pocket. Maybe the train took it. Maybe a hand I never felt. For days, every low hum made me think of a reefer breathing under the city, cold threaded beneath warm. Later, a lawyer wrote that the lab denied everything, that the stamps were forged, that our photos showed routine cold chain logistics. An editor asked for more proof I could not safely find. Sammy sent a single message, "Keep moving," and vanished. Dowit texted coordinates, then deleted them before I could save them, as if erasing footsteps. Even truths looked staged after a sleepless week. I dreamed of Lolabella's roof at ground level and of polite men with stamps. In the dream, I opened a sweating crate and found ledgers wrapped in oilcloth. Every page was blank until my pen touched it. Then ink bled, and the words were mine and not mine. Morning came ordinary. Dogs slept in doorways. Buses coughed. Someone sang off-key. I poured coffee and watched steam write a message on the window that vanished before I could read it. Maybe biology. Maybe imagination. It moved through air like truth, and then was gone.